I have 8 random questions, and whatever question I roll for you, that is where we start at least.
Okay, I'll take it.
What is the movie that you've rewatched the most?
Fight Club.
I did not see that coming.
No one ever does. It's my favorite movie of all time.
What would you say is your absolute favorite part of the acting process? Like rehearsal, putting on your costume for the first time, something like that. But then also, what's not necessarily your least favorite, but the part where you recognize room to grow for yourself and you look forward to exploring that?
I have very specific feelings about certain moments in my career. That moment when they say rolling before they call action is such a special feeling that I still get excited about. Like there's still, even on Riverdale, which I've been doing for 7 years, there's still a little bit of nerves inside of me between rolling and action. And the minute they say action, it completely wipes away. It's the most incredible feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost euphoric. And then my least favorite part, honestly, probably like fittings. I actually really like costume fittings usually, but I find when I'm working an insane schedule and I'm trying to fit fittings in, all of my fitting photos, I'm just like, sleeping in.
What is something that you did for a role in the past that now makes you say, I'm really glad that I tried that once, but I don't ever have to do that again?
I'm scared to answer this because I don't want people to go and try to find this movie because I think I've scrubbed it off of my life. But I'm gonna tell you, but not be specific.
Okay.
So basically, I feel like people are gonna try and find it. I got covered in body makeup from head to toe and like pale blue body makeup, and they made like basically prosthetics all over my entire body and had my skin peeling off. I had a bald cap on and that all over my bald cap as well, to play like if I say this, it's gonna get too specific, to play something where I needed to be that way. It had nothing to do with my character. They just kind of like added me in at the last minute. And I don't think I will ever do that again. It was freezing cold. We couldn't put any robes on because it would take the body paint off. It was one of my first jobs. So I feel like I also like didn't want to say I was cold. So I was just in between takes still sitting there shivering. That would be the thing I would probably never do again. Speak up. I just would speak up.
I'm trying so hard to think about what this might be.
You'll never know. You'll never know, Perry.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back for a brand new edition of Collider Ladies Night. I'm very excited to welcome Madelaine Petsch to the show for Hotel for the Holidays, which is on Amazon Freevee, which is Amazon, but you could watch it for free. It's that simple. Madelaine, congratulations on the movie and everything you've accomplished thus far, which we're going to talk about.
Thanks, Perry. I'm happy to be here.
When you take the plunge and make the move to LA to jump right into a really challenging industry, what would you say was your greatest source of comfort? Something you had done or something in yourself that made you believe that even though this is a really challenging business, I can do it?
You know, I was going to do like a silly answer, and I have one, but I was raised in a family where can't wasn't really in our vocabulary. My parents are from South Africa. They moved to the States with almost no money in their pockets and built a business and were able to put a roof over my brother and I's heads when coming to this country with nothing, that country with nothing. I'm in Canada right now. And I think because of that and because of their drive and their knowingness and their success and their belief in themselves, it was kind of taught to me at such a young age that it wasn't really an option not to, which I'm so thankful for looking back. I mean, they built this confidence in me as a kid that I could just do anything. And now I look back and I'm almost more fearful of the world now than I was then, which is so funny considering where I am now. And I'm like, how did I do that at 18? 10 years later, how did I go and do that stuff? It actually blows my mind.
That's a beautiful answer. I wish I could take the word can't and kind of just like remove it from my vocab. I've done it with the word hate. I don't really like when people say I hate this movie or this show, because even if I don't love it, I'm still a big believer that every single movie and show has a fan out there. And I feel like hate is crossing a line that could be disrespectful of that. And I don't like it.
I love that. I think that's really wonderful.
Here's a question I love asking. So you move to LA, and I imagine you're doing the audition grind. Can you give us one early audition high, something that even if you didn't book the role made you feel really good, like you had a good chance going forward, but then also what's an audition low? And Either how did you overcome that low, or what did you learn from it that you were able to apply to future auditions?
So many audition lows. I think the biggest thing for me is anybody going into this industry has to be so used to the word no, has to be comfortable with the word no and rejection, and not take that personally. There's nothing personal about this job. Truly, it is a job at the end of the day. So I'd say a high would be kind of like any callback. The first year that I was out there felt like a moment of validation for me. And I'm pretty lucky. I had a couple of those. I had some producer sessions. I had some director sessions. I didn't really book anything the first year that I was there other than a Honda commercial. And I think that also might have been a big high. I made good money on that. And I worked with an amazing DP, Emmanuel Lubezki, who did Gravity. And I think doing that made me feel like, whoa, okay, I can book this. I can do this. That was a very validating moment for me. Even though it was like a Honda commercial, it was still really cool to have been booked for something that was going to go on TV.
Working with an icon, my God.
It was so, when they told me he was DPing it, I was like, I'm going for that.
Is there any particular moment while making Riverdale? Because I know when you first start a big show like that, and especially when you're newer to the industry, you could feel the pressure to just like basically do what you're told and like nail the lines all the time. But then as you come to understand your character better than anyone else and you gain experience, have you noticed a point on Riverdale where like your creative input in your character was being heard in a different way that made you feel like you had more power over her than ever?
You know, Roberto, our showrunner, has always been so open to our creative input from the beginning. I remember right after the pilot was done wrapping, he sat down with each of the 5 of us and said, what are the things you want to see your character doing? And so I was like, I'd love to. And he's like, well, what are things that you just want to do? What do you want to learn? I was like, I really want to learn archery. Put that into the show. He was like, that's random, but I want to do it. So he's always been open to it. And then when we had been halfway through season 1, I believe, I called him and I was like, Cheryl's a lesbian. And he was like, cool, tell me why. And he was super open to it. And him and I are the reason why Cheryl is a lesbian. It was an idea, a thought, a feeling I felt while I was playing her. So he's kind of always really respected all of our creative input and welcomed it with open arms.
With Riverdale winding down and you moving on to, or at least having more time for more projects, because you've always incorporated some things in between seasons, what's a particular acting technique that you think is going to have to, stay behind with Cheryl, something that was very specific to that character? But then on the other hand, what is a corner of your craft that role hasn't really given you the opportunity to explore yet that you're looking forward to digging into in the future?
Cheryl speaks incredibly quickly. And I find when Riverdale's over, I have to kind of snap myself out of that. So that would be probably something that needs to be left in the dust. And things that I'm looking forward to exploring, kind of everything. I mean, I have definitely gotten to dive into a lot of other projects, and I'm so thankful and happy and love them all. I think I just did Hotel for the Holidays, and I think doing a comedy and a lighthearted piece was so fun. I really would love to do more comedy and get to have like fun on set sometimes too, and not just be like crying and running away from monsters and serial killers all the time.
This is a little less about craft and more about like navigating the industry in general, because after like a long running, very big show comes to an end, it can be a very high pressure situation to figure out what to do next. So what would you say is one piece of advice you've gotten about, I guess, making your next move, so to speak, that you plan to act on? But then also, what is a piece of advice that might make you think like, thank you for that suggestion, but like, I recognize that something different feels like it would work best for me?
You know, I haven't really been open to advice on that, to be honest with you. I think I know in my gut what projects speak to me when I read them. And I have a great team around me who kind of know the trajectory that we're all looking for. So I think there's not really like a lot of room for people to come in and tell me what to do with my career outside of myself and my team right now.
I very much respect that authority there and the ability to take control of your craft like that. Jumping into Hotel for the Holidays with that in mind, when that script first comes your way, what is the very first thing that makes you think, you know what, this is going to be a good fit for me, or maybe like I need this in my career right now?
I had just finished a very heavy and hard season of Riverdale, and had gotten some offers that felt like would be very emotionally draining for me, and not necessarily just mostly the subject matter. I was getting a lot of really heavy projects. So when Hotel was sent to me, it was just such a breath of fresh air. I love that there's so many different relationships within it. It's such a beautiful story. It's so heartwarming. I personally love holiday movies. I watch Halloween movies all of October. I watch Christmas movies all of December. And the idea of being a part of someone's tradition like that is really exciting to me. And it's such a wonderful script. And our director was so collaborative when we spoke on the phone. We got to work together on kind of evolving some scenes together. I think just the way it came together and the magic of the project is what brought me to it.
I feel like I might know the answer to this, but when you finish a take and you need that confirmation that, like, yes, nailed it, got it, where do you look first? Is it your scene partner? Is it in yourself? Is it your director? Who do you turn to first?
It really depends on the project, to be honest. For Hotel, I knew, because I worked with the director on that script for like the 3 weeks leading up to shooting. So I knew within myself exactly who this character needed to be. So I was very sure. When I'm working on a project where maybe I'm thrown in a little bit faster, I don't have the time to do the prep, I definitely think you have to have that relationship with a director or a writer or producer on set that is watching the monitor. On Strangers, I would walk over to Rennie and Courtney, our producer, and I would say, do you feel like we got what we were looking for in that moment? There was so much stunt work happening that it was like, I've never really had to do such intense stunt work and also be so viscerally involved in my craft. So I think that's when I would look to your director, your producer, the relationship that you feel the closest to creatively and on the same page with would be who I would look to.
Speaking of that kind of, acting toolkit, I guess, what is a new tool in that toolkit, so to speak, that you know that you can credit to Hotel for the Holidays that you'll be able to take on to future projects now?
I really wrote with the director and the writers, I rewrote a lot of my lines to feel more in line with the character that we'd created. And I think that's something that I hadn't done a lot of, and I really enjoyed that. I also think the quirkiness, the comedy, the almost Gilmore Girls-esque relationship like Georgia has with pretty much everybody in the movie, I feel like I will take forward into other comedies as well. I haven't gotten to do a lot of those. So I think just learning who I am in a comedy role and in a film like that of that genre was really fun for me. And I really look forward to exploring more of that.
Do you have writing and directing ambitions? I just feel like I hear a lot of that in your answers.
I do. I don't know. It's hard to say. I really like producing, and I like being invested from the ground up, and I like making characters, and that's kind of my job as an actor. And I think as my storytelling evolves, so will the way that I tell stories.
I did a little internet stalking and I was watching some of your YouTube channel. And one thing that really kind of, caught my own ear when I was watching your video about, you were talking a little bit about how you're going to reshape your YouTube channel and what your goals are going forward. And you specifically said that you recently realized that you need to find time to enjoy yourself without work. And I feel like that's a very, very important lesson for a lot of people out there, myself included, to learn. So between the making of that video and now, is there anything that you have discovered to help you in that effort that you can share thus far?
It's actually really ironic, Carrie, because I think that was the last video I put out. And I think that helped me learn that I really thought that things like YouTube and reading scripts and being on sets was just filling me up and filling up all of my different cups. And it was filling a lot of my cups up, but it wasn't filling up the Madelaine cup that exists outside of my career at all. And I was spending every single waking moment doing some capacity of that, some piece of that. And I think I had to let go of a piece of what my work in order to find time for that. So honestly, taking space away from YouTube has allowed me the time to fill up my own cup, which is so ironic, right? I think that was almost like my exit video without even saying it was. I'm not saying I quit. I don't believe in that. I feel like I could come back at any time, but it really was me learning to take a step back and be like, wow, this thing is actually becoming more of a stressor to me because I have this pressure, this immense pressure I put on myself that I don't even think other people do, to be good and to be there every week for people who have been tuning in every week for multiple years. So I think stepping away from that has allowed me time to enjoy myself a little bit more, but I'm still working on it. It's still a constant spectrum of things I have to work on. I still struggle daily with filling up my own cup. I think we all kind of do.
Yeah, we all do. We all gotta learn, and, like, when you're ready to jump back into that, like, that'll be great because you'll have learned and you can express what you learned to your viewers, but also all that content that you made is still there, still spreading joy. People are still discovering, and I watched some of it for the first time.
Thanks, Terry. I appreciate that.
I must let you go. I'm going to say a huge congratulations on Hotel for the Holidays. Again, on Amazon Freebie. People don't seem to understand what Freebie is. It is simply Amazon that is free. You just look up the movie and you press play, and that's it. And it's free. It's free. It's great. Watch that. Huge congratulations on everything you've accomplished thus far. I look forward to revisiting the evolution of your craft sometime in the future because I'm sure you will keep delivering big.
Thank you, Perry. It's been lovely. What a lovely time this has been.